you met Al Pacino backstage.
Al Pacino, yeah. Okay, so here's a true story. So when Mike and I started VIP Ignite, we were the bridge to help talent meet top people in the industry. Somebody said to me, well, aren't you tired of just being the journey? Like, why aren't you the destination? We ended up investing in Broadway, and one of our good friends invited me to go with him to a show, and Al Pacino was starring in it with Judith Light from Who's the Boss, and we went backstage and we all got to hang out. It was so nerve-wracking.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys, you got Alycia here, co-founder of Visioncraft. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Coming off the 10X award, right?
Bling, bling, yeah.
Oh, they give you a ring?
Yeah, so we had a really cool plaque that came. For the last 8 years, we've been 2 Comma Club with ClickFunnels. And then finally, we went big. You know, it's like Vegas style, just all in.
I love it.
We got the 10X. And that was
how do you get the 10X one? Is that a certain
10
amount?
million.
10 million in 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Using a funnel. And that's really crazy.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And you know my business partner, Mike, he's a complete genius. So we're showbiz. And
Very
I'm the
smart.
face of the company. He's definitely the brains. And you kind of need a little bit of yin and yang.
And you guys are a great pair because the network you built together
so important.
is insane.
Yeah, well, when you walk into a room, you have to be able to own it, even without saying a word.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot of people, which is why we started Visioncraft, we've invested a lot of money to surround ourselves with greatness. And as an entrepreneur, so many people didn't know their why. They couldn't really quite depict what they were doing. And people don't buy products, they buy you.
Absolutely.
You know that. So,
and what you did today, even though it's a silly example with the donuts, you left an impression on everyone that you met today with
sugar
the donuts.
high.
Yeah. And that people probably like
I
you
never
just
come
for that.
empty-handed, like
It's
even
just
dinner parties.
$50, but you just changed everyone's day and perspective
Well, I
on you.
try to. It's a good conversation starter. Like, what are you going to eat? And, so I just, anywhere I go, you just always bring gifts.
I love that. Yeah.
And thank you cards. That's a big thing.
Of course.
So,
so 8 years you were stuck at 7 figures.
Yeah.
And then what was that
I hate to even say stuck. It sounds so like arrogant, but as a business owner, you always want to expand. And if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get the same results.
Right.
So
what was that key? Was there a key moment? You remember scaling to 8 figures, what you did differently?
I really just think, there's, I think with entrepreneurs, especially now, like between AI and everybody has a course and everybody has, marketing, I think we just really needed to kind of get back to our true passion, which is coming out here and meeting more people and not just sitting behind a desk all the time and just elevating.
Right. Yeah, when conferences went away during the pandemic, it's weird.
So sad.
Yeah.
Like it's hard sometimes to be around people again.
It took me a few months, not gonna lie, because you don't stay away for 2 years. So
try working in New York City, getting pregnant, going to Florida, moving cross country, and working from home, like for the last 4 years. Like
you went crazy.
Yes. It's a good thing I'm not an alcoholic, but you start going insane because you're like, as soon as you're done with work, my tradition is because I work from home and I have a 3-year-old and my fiance is a stay-at-home dad, I won't just go into a conversation or go into mommy mode. I take a shower and I recalibrate to be my true self.
Yeah.
Because you have your on-stage presence and then you have your, okay, we're off. This is me for real.
Right.
So
let's talk about the stay-at-home dad thing because that is a rare thing these days. Was that a planned decision?
Well, we got pregnant. We found out February of 2020, March, the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
And Mike and I were investing in Broadway. All of our Broadway shows were, we also own a mother agency with models and actors and everything was just at a standstill.
Right.
And 8 months pregnant, I was like, you can't work. We're high risk, God forbid, you came back and we couldn't get. So he quit work 8 months pregnant. And then we moved to Florida. And I was like, oh my goodness, I work from Zoom all day. What are we going to just drop off the baby at daycare? And he's like, oh, and we just got used to it. And now that the world is opened up again and we're traveling, I'm like, thank goodness you don't have a job. How great is it that we get to travel with our family? We were in LA 2 weeks ago. Then we're back in Florida. We're in New York. We're all over the place, but we get to travel with our son.
Nice.
And so I don't even like to say unemployed. He's the CEO of our home.
Okay.
Literally he does so much. And I think that's also a reason why the company, not the only reason, but you have to be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
It
takes a mature man to be able to do that, I think. Because a lot of immature guys would not do that.
And he's had a hard time between family and friends. Wait, what?
Making fun of him, right?
Yeah, what? And it's not even so much about power. It's just as a man, you're taught to provide.
Right.
And he does. You know, like, but we play our roles.
Yeah.
You know, and when I'm not on Zoom and I'm not doing my thing, it's, you know, it's a good equal, you know, and that's important.
Absolutely. How often are you on Zoom?
Every day.
Damn.
Yeah. So when we used to have the physical offices in New York City and Philly, I would be in every single office in the tri-state area, you know, doing live presentations. And then with Zoom, I think I've done like 4,000 live webinars. Yeah.
And they're all unique, like?
No, I do live open calls Tuesdays and Saturdays for people trying to get into show business as well. And that's kind of where Vision Craft came into play. And then I was doing live open calls and casting calls. And so I don't mind Zoom because now it's like, hey, as soon as I'm done, no traffic, no people. But yeah, like Zoom is great. I mean, Zoom works. Yeah.
Are shows back to where they were pre-pandemic, you'd say?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like, especially Hollywood has changed dramatically. Yeah. Back in the day, you had to live in New York. You had to live in LA. You were physically going into the studios. But now that everything is done on Zoom, there's more competition now than ever because literally it's the whole world is your competition.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now we're in Vegas where shows are like
everywhere.
I just paid $250 for Absinthe. Have you been to that one?
Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
At Caesars.
I was doing the math because we're entrepreneurs. So I'm in the room sitting.
They're doing all right.
I'm calculating the seats and I'm saying, wait, they're making $100K a night because they're doing
and plus everybody
shows.
Has to buy the drinks because they're there.
They shove those down your throat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're making $150K a night maybe.
Yeah. And that show's so good.
Yeah, it's a great show.
It's nerve-wracking. When you're sitting on the front, you're like, oh, please don't fall on me.
Oh my God. Because the guy like roasts people at one point.
Yeah, it's funny.
So I'm literally looking this way.
It's like improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't pick on me.
He got the guy next to me and I'm like, oh, I'm not looking.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't make eye contact.
Yeah. He's funny though.
The show is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it has enough for everybody. But I don't know how they do it on those little stages.
They should expand.
It's so good.
Yeah. Have you been to the new one at the Wynn?
No.
Okay.
No.
Awakening, I think it's called.
Okay.
That's a good
It's hard because we brought the baby this time.
Yeah.
So even we were talking about restaurants in the other room and I was like, oh, I don't want to be that, you know, here's my 3-year-old going to a club again, you know? So I'm trying to be respectful.
Yeah.
But he's cool. My kid's been to South Beach. He's been on set before.
Okay.
He's 3, but he's going to run Vegas, I think.
Yeah, he's going to be a stud.
He's networking. He shakes his hand, you know.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
He's going to be a stud.
He's not like a normal kid. Caden is cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good name, too.
Yeah.
Caden, with a C or K?
A C.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know some with a K.
Oh. Yeah.
I know some Sean's with an H.
Oh.
How do you feel about that?
I feel all right.
They're
not you.
Yeah, they're not. You met some interesting people. I want to go through these one by one. So you met Al Pacino backstage.
Al Pacino, yeah.
What was that like?
It was, you know, okay, so here's a true story. So when Mike and I started VIP Ignite, we were the bridge to help talent meet top people in the industry. And somebody said to me, well, aren't you tired of just being the journey? Like, why aren't you the destination? I'm like, well, I'm not an agent. And so we ended up investing in Broadway. And one of our good friends, Dan Loria, who starred in The Wonder Years, invited me to go with him to a show. And Al Pacino was starring in it with Judith Light from Who's the Boss. And we went backstage and we all got to hang out. And it was so nerve-wracking because you see these amazing people that you like. I'm a film student. I love anything Hollywood, and it's Al freaking Pacino. How do you like not like freak out, you know, or like try to quote his movies or go, it's such an honor.
Legend.
And I walked up to him and I don't even know like how quickly I grew a pair of balls just to be able to do that. I was like, it's just so nice to meet you. And he said to me, he said, before you even say a word, your body language says so much about you.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, thank you. And it was just so, because even as an entrepreneur, you know that. Like when you walk into a room, you're networking. Yeah, you have to set the tone.
You could feel it.
You can feel
because there's some off days when you're at a conference and you realize not as many people are coming up to you and approaching you, right?
Yeah. And you could tell also like for us, because we're show business, like who's really negative, you know, where you're just like, oh, you know, let's get the sage and cleanse this place after you're out of here.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen some weird stuff in that business.
Yeah, but they're like in a lineup. You're like, no. Yeah. I don't even want to see no. And it doesn't even matter about like their aesthetic or their physical appearance. It's just something about them.
It's their aura. It's their energy. Yeah,
it's their energy.
As I get older, I'm getting better at like picking up on it too.
I can. There's a lineup and I'll show you how to. Yeah. It's hard.
It's quick now.
Yeah, it is quick.
Yeah, within minutes.
But a lot of people don't know it's them. Right. And a lot of times it's their echo chamber, their friends and family.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that rubs off on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be real careful who you're friends with.
Oh, it's everything.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear. No matter what you do, like even raising my child, I'm like, okay, he's in preschool now. Who are the other parents? What do they do?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I'm at a good spot now where I don't worry about if they're talking about me anymore.
Yeah.
But before, I used to constantly think about that in high school and college.
Because it weighs you down.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that people worry about on Facebook because they're looking for that instant, you know?
Yeah, Facebook's pretty toxic, man.
Well, my whole thing with Facebook and Instagram is don't impersonate, be. So many people are so worried about what other people think of them.
Yeah.
Just be yourself.
For real.
Just be real, you know?
Yeah, because at least if you get hate when you're yourself, you can't do anything about it because you're being yourself.
Yeah. And
So.
sometimes haters are really the highest form of flattery because at least they're talking about you.
Right. You need
know?
them.
Yeah.
You definitely need them.
And like even in show business, like I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. If I told somebody the truth that they didn't have what it took, oh, you're so mean. You asked for the truth.
Yeah.
And so I find like sometimes this is why people get scammed, especially in show business, because they're so quick for the rainbows. And it's not.
What are some common scams in the show business space?
Oh my gosh, pay me money, here's work, pay me money, here's an agent, pay me money. You know, it's just
Gatekeepers.
yeah, you know, you get rewarded in public for kicking butt in private.
Right.
And you have to put in the work. Everybody says, I want an agent, or even what an agent wants. You know, I mean, look at you. You have a podcast.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like one of your last, viewers had like 4.5 million.
Yeah.
How many people have podcasts? How do you stand out? You know, and you have to find like those pain points. Like you have to talk into their language, into their heart, you know?
Absolutely. That's why I've been able to grow because I'm reaching so many different
Yeah.
audiences.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also met John Glenn and Neil Armstrong.
Yes. These are like the craziest, like I joke around, this is like the craziest dinner party conversation. So I had a radio show with CBS Digital and it was really cool. And my business partner, who you know, Michael Fompkin, is a complete brainiac. And when we had the radio show with CBS, he was able to get press passes to go to John Glenn's, like, it was like the 50th anniversary or something crazy of the first whatever. And so Mike and I ended up going, and true story. So there was all this press there, like NBC, CBS, like real legitimate press. And here I am like, hey, I just have this like little talk show.
Yeah.
And it turned out that I wasn't feeling well. I was in the restroom and there was a woman there that couldn't figure out how to get like the mechanical sinks to work. And we started, I was like, oh, let me help you. And this just shows you always have to be nice. When we walked out, she said, oh, are you here for the John Glenn? And I said, yes. And she said, oh, come sit with me. And so I walk in and Michael's like, where are you going? It was John Glenn's wife.
No way.
It was Annie Glenn. So she waved hi to me and Michael's like, how did you do this? You were in the bathroom for 5 minutes. And I come out with like a friend. And later on, she's like, what are you guys doing for lunch? Would you like to join us for lunch? She personally introduced me to Senator John Glenn, her husband.
Yeah.
Then Neil Armstrong. I have pictures of me shaking hands with him.
Wow.
And
That's a legend.
Charlie
First man
Bolden.
on the moon, right?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
The
That's
head
historic.
of NASA, appointed by Barack Obama. I was hanging out with Charlie.
Crazy.
But like, you don't know who you're going to meet.
Because you could have not helped that girl.
I could have just like washed my hands and been like, okay, I'm in a rush.
Which 99% of people probably would have done.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, I was like, oh, let me help you. And she had soap on her hands. What was I going to leave her? Like she couldn't figure it out. So I was like, here, let me help. And just that one little act of kindness changed the whole trajectory of our company.
I love it. I actually talk to all my Uber drivers.
I do too.
Yeah,
all the time.
Which people think is weird, but you never know.
That's what they do.
I found one guy who had a craziest story I've ever met, and I got him like a therapist and all this stuff.
Really?
And just made
Changed
me
his
feel
life.
Changed his life.
Yeah.
And he's coming on the podcast. But yeah, you really
That's
never
so fun.
know.
Yeah.
There's some crazy stories.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Everybody.
For
And this
real.
is Vegas.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
You also studied under Tony Robbins.
Yeah. So we're part of his business mastery and his platinum program, man, talk about networking. People who pay attention. And I'll tell you, like when we first started going to Tony Robbins or even ClickFunnels, we would just do like that bare minimum just to get in, just to kind of see like, are they drinking the Kool-Aid? What's going on? And we realized that when people did the bare minimum, they got bare minimum results. And one day I said, who's sitting in that front row? Like, why is Tony hanging out with them? Like, what are they doing? And when I started doing further research with Mike, we were like, oh my gosh, look at the revenue they're generating.
Right.
And he said, oh, that's platinum. It's like $100,000. I was like, that's crazy. And he said, is it? And by doing that and also joining ClickFunnels, Inner Circle, and all these other, high level, you are who you surround yourself with. Your network is your net worth. And even being here today, I mean, just getting in front of the right people.
Yeah, I've
we
heard
just
great
signed a deal
things.
with Brian Tracy.
Nice.
We're going out to La Jolla next week. I was talking to Les Brown earlier today.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And it's
Yeah.
just networking.
Absolutely.
But you got to know how to network.
Right.
And that's the hardest.
Some people join and then they talk shit about it because they're not actually networking.
Yeah. And they're competing with everybody else and you're in your own lane.
Yeah. That's a limited mindset.
Yeah. And my feeling is even like Broadway, like we've won 6 Tony Awards with our shows. It's not about the awards. It's about having proximity and having proof and power.
Right.
That gives you authority, but you have to learn how to leverage it.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
You know, and that's a hard thing to teach.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
is the Tony Award pretty much the Oscar of the Broadway world?
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
highest.
So we've worked with Sigourney Weaver and David Hyde Pierce and
Wow.
but like even investing in Broadway, that totally changed everything because we were able to see like everything. It's kind of like taking your favorite storybook and bringing it to life.
Yeah.
We are now like part of the scene. Like, oh, look at this. Costume designers talking to people. Oh, why are you doing this and not this? And talking about marketing and why do the wraparound bus versus the billboard in Times Square? Why? And like you would hear the psychology. Oh, that makes sense. And then like you learn that and you're like, oh man, I could apply this towards VIP.
Yeah.
Which is our mother company, VIP Ignite, because we
Love
help
it.
aspiring models and actors get in front of the right casting directors and agents and producers, but we get them ready. And the reason why we started Vision Craft was because there were so many entrepreneurs that kind of needed that Hollywood-esque blueprint. They have a story, but they don't know how to tell it.
Right.
And they don't make it compelling, you know, and it's going to be great.
It's got to be tough to get a show on Broadway, right?
Oh, Broadway.
They only do a few a year, I feel like. I feel like they run
Yeah.
the same one for like years, like the Harry Potter one. I see
Oh my
in New York.
gosh. Think about how many people go to the most prestigious schools in the world and then they graduate and then what?
Right.
They're living in New York, bartending, waiting on tables, like waiting for that big break. So, I mean, obviously there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
But if I can help put somebody in front of the right people and just, you don't want to just sit up on a website. What is that going to do? You're one of a billion on a website. Like, pick me. Who's going to pick you?
Yeah.
If you know you're right, like you have to get face to face.
You got to get out there.
You got to get out there.
Yeah,
You got to be
'cause
proactive.
You had no prior connections to Broadway
No.
when you started, right?
No, none.
And I feel like that's very hard to do because most
Yeah.
people do have those connections
Yeah.
that are in the space.
Yeah, we also work with filmmakers. We work with people that work with Francis Ford Coppola. And for me, like, that's a dream. I'll never forget when I took that picture with Anthony or Al Pacino, somebody had commented like, oh, you're so lucky. I was like, lucky? Are you like, I found like a quarter on the side of the street. Like, F you. This was all based on having the right connections
Right.
and building your craft and investing. We've invested a lot of money in time and Broadway and movies and just
Yeah.
to get even just in the rooms.
You probably put in 10,000 hours before that point.
Oh yeah, 1 million actually. Yeah, but like, and then I deal with people that are brand new. They least amount of risk, but they want the most amount to gain,
Right.
and they're not willing to put in the work. But they're so worried about impressing everybody.
Do you see
And
that
they
in the
want it.
younger generation?
Yeah.
The instant gratification? I think
Yeah.
it's because of social media.
It's a lot of social media.
Because even on YouTube and TikTok, you're training your brain
Yeah.
to be rewarded every 5 seconds.
Every 5 seconds, and if you don't see it, you start getting depressed. Like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And you're just refresh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the studies when they come out because it's a new form of entertainment, short
Yeah.
form, but it's definitely toxic.
It definitely is,
Yeah.
especially TikTok, and everybody thinks that they're, you know,
Yeah, they think they're hot. And
Yeah.
I even see it on me because I used to be able to watch a full podcast or movie easily, not check my phone once.
yeah.
Now it's tough.
But Broadway's the same thing. When you're in a dark like theater and everybody's checking their phones, you're like,
Oh, they're doing it in Broadway
Oh yeah,
too?
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
That's concerning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
crazy.
Even Broadway, if they're penetrating that market, because that's an older crowd usually,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dang.
But you know, like when I went to school, so I studied TV and film and communications. Like I love the greats, like Alfred Hitchcock and
Yeah.
those long takes. Now everything is like Argo, cut, because that's our attention span.
Yeah. People get bored now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you got to adapt the shows.
And that's why, like with Vision Craft, we're gonna do like 1 minute stints. What's your story? 1 minute. Let's hot button. Let's overcome it right now.
Yeah.
Because people, you got a minute. You got really 10 seconds.
For real.
Not even. It's like a first date.
It makes sense because all
Yeah.
the shows I've been to out here, it's a 360 stage because people
Yeah.
just can't stare at the same thing
No.
anymore.
Yeah, like absinthe.
Yeah. It's pretty
You're worried
nuts.
about everybody falling on you, you know, because it has to be like interactive now.
Yeah.
Like, are you awake? Let's go.
Nuts.
Yeah.
You also got offered to fly with the Prime Minister of Israel on his private jet.
Again, with networking, I ended up getting asked to MC the Israel Film Festival.
Wow.
And I was like, really? And it was kind of crazy. I was in New York and they needed somebody last minute. Somebody had food poisoning and somebody thought of me. So just even the fact that they thought of me, I was like, oh, really? Okay, sure. And yeah, he was in the audience and I got to meet an Academy Award winner who ended up becoming a friend. And she came out to our networking events and it wasn't about a rah, 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 you can do it. It's like, no, let me tell you what I did. I need to tell you the story.
Right.
Because a lot of times people don't want to hear the struggle. They just want to hold it and pretend.
That's
you know?
true. Yeah, there's a lot of that almost because of social media. You want to put on a show.
Yeah.
But people can see through it these days, I think.
All day.
Yeah.
Every day.
When you're just posting good stuff, I mean, it's not even relatable at that point.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, like I sometimes get told like, don't put so much about your kid on there or here I am cooking. But I think people need to see like, I'm not a magic unicorn, nor is Mike. Like we work hard to have a great family and, you know, to be able to live the life that we live now. But they didn't see the blood, sweat and tears for 18 years, you know? I mean, you get rewarded in public for kicking butt in private.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you need to show people not like the struggles, but the, hey, I'm just like you.
For sure.
But if I know how to do it, like my service can help you.
Yeah, I agree. The modern day celebrity image of what it used to be of like an A-list actor not messing up, being perfect is no longer appealing.
Yeah, because you kind of need to see like the other end now, you know?
No, for real. When people only post where they vacation or whatever.
Yeah, that's not
making
real
money
life.
Cars.
Yeah, I don't, Kardashians are cool, but there's a lot more to it, you know?
You got
it's well
plans
calculated.
For, you got plans for more kids or are you good with one?
No, I'm good with one.
Yeah? One and done?
I had my first kid at 43, so that was like a blessing. Yeah.
43.
I used to joke around I was going to settle down and have kids when hell froze over. And I didn't mean that like literally, but I was working. You know, you run businesses and you're in the office 7 days a week till midnight. During what time?
I heard that's common with New York girls. They wait till their 30s, 40s.
Wait. And I think to myself, yeah, I probably could have gotten married in my 20s, but I'd much rather live my life and get to the point where now like we get to travel and I'm home every night for bubble bath night and story time and dinner and I'm there.
Yeah.
But yet we're doing all right, you know, and I'm able to work from home. I couldn't have done it before.
Absolutely.
So God just had a plan and it was just to wait.
I love it. When was that first financial breakthrough? How old were you?
When I was 19, I bought my first home.
Wow.
True story.
That's early.
Yeah. I used to... When I went to UCF in Orlando, everybody made fun of me. I would drive to Disney to go host, I wasn't a waitress. I was a hostess.
Yeah.
I'm making minimum wage, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, paying for tolls. Everyone would say, why are you driving so far? It's like minimum wage. I'm like, but the waiters there make money. And they're like, but why don't you work here? This is where your friends are. I said, my friends have no money. Nickel beer night, 10-cent wings. I don't want that.
10-cent
I want to make money. If I'm waiting on tables, I want to make money. So I did what I needed to do. I hosted and I kind of proved myself. Ended up waiting on tables. And at 19, I bought my first home.
All from waiting tables?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was making $500 a shift at 19. Planet Hollywood, Disney, tourists.
Dang.
Yeah. Would you like that Coca-Cola in a souvenir glass for $20?
Tipping well over there.
But think about it.
Yeah.
People that go to Disney have money to spend. And if you're going to work smart, you know, you're going to knock it out. I made more in one night than my friends in 2 weeks working full time.
That's crazy.
But then when you become successful at 19 and you're buying a home, oh, you're an old lady now, you got a mortgage. And I would pick up shifts. I didn't go away for spring break. I'm like, doubles. Because I knew there was so much money and I would put it away.
Do you feel like you had to grow up kind of quick?
Yeah. My mom got breast cancer my first year of college.
Wow.
And that was like really crappy because I was like, I had this idea of I'm going to join the dance team and join a sorority and it's going to be fun. And I was like, oh no, I need to be able to take care of I don't want to have to ask for help.
Right.
And that kind of propelled me into, I got to find a way to make money. I don't want to like fold jeans at the Gap or work in a telephone call. So I wanted to do something fun. And I didn't have any waitressing experience, so they wouldn't hire me. So I had to prove myself. Okay, I'll get in there and I'll kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they ended up, hey, do you want to be a food runner? And that was the next step to being a waitress. But even, you know, it's funny because now I speak from stage and I'm loud. Before waiting on tables, I was so quiet, complete introvert.
Yeah.
But when you work at a loud, high volume restaurant where you're like standing on chairs and it's somebody's birthday. But now it helps me when I'm in a room bringing donuts like, hi. Because before that, I would have just sat just in a corner.
Wow.
Or like waited outside.
So that job
sometimes
really,
I got thrown into.
Yeah. So that job really got you out of your comfort zone. Other than the money, it emotionally evolved.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And I think you've done really well at proximity.
Yeah,
I see
proximity.
that keep coming up in our conversation.
If you get in front of the right people, it's what are you going to talk about? It's not about you. What are you going to bring to the table? You know, how can I serve you? And I followed up with every single person I met through you already. You know, Barry.
That's
You've been
impressive.
texting.
You met them today.
Yeah.
You already followed
I'm
up.
like, hey, we have a boot camp. There's synergy here. Whitney. Hey, why not?
Yeah. That's
Because
so cool.
I feel like we were put in that room for a reason, even though you're awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like success breeds success. Like, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
You know, this is what I do. Oh, could I ever be of help to you? How can I serve you?
And that's what I see with the podcast because I have on the most successful people from their industry. But at the end of the day, there's so many commonalities in terms of mindset.
Yeah.
It all is the same.
Like even Randall, you know, man, he was telling me about his kids. And it's just, I feel like you're not trying to prove anything to anybody. You just want to be happy at the end of the day. And so many people just aren't. So what makes you happy? You know, and there's a saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Like I'm out in Vegas for 48 hours. I love it.
Yeah.
Like I've been here all day. Like I could have gone sightseeing and why? This is like even being here for the last couple of hours, like could catapult, you know, you're building connections.
I love it.
Yeah.
The location and time freedom we have is just amazing.
It's amazing.
Even if I were to only make like $100K a year, I think I'd still do this.
You're okay. And you've got a great woman in there who.
Yeah. I got lucky.
She's
First
awesome.
date. First girl I ever dated.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One and done for me there.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
That's
you know,
so
you know.
important. I mean, people, especially guys, they like to, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like
It's like Costco. We just want to sample everything before we settle.
Well, that's because of our generation's stances on dating these days.
Yeah.
I think they're scared of marriage and stuff.
But I think if you can find somebody you're comfortable with and you know that appreciates you, regardless of anything else, that's everything.
Yeah.
And you know, even for me, like even finding Jeff, like, oh my God, I don't even know where I'd be without him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Probably like in a dark corner. Like 2 months after I had my baby, my dad died.
Damn.
So I was like, oh God. So I moved cross country, worked from home, had a baby, lost my dad during a pandemic.
Oh my God.
Talk about perfect storm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, those were scary times.
it was horrible.
Yeah, super scary, man.
Not just in the world, but also for business. We were doing live events only.
Oh, for you, yeah.
So like
Jeez.
Michael Fomkin, genius, like literally pivoted. Like he saw the trend coming. And we realized so many people were paying so much money to go to our live events, sitting down in front of agents and casting directors, but they weren't ready. So it was a lot of mindset, yes, but also like fundamentals.
Yeah.
And that's why even with Visioncraft now, we're doing so much live, but also on Zoom. Because it kind of needs to be like accountability and check-ins a lot.
Yeah.
You know? Because you don't know until you know. So in people's mind, they think they're being proactive, but a lot of times it's their self-doubt that ruins them.
Yeah, there's a lot of unlearning and limited beliefs, right?
Yeah.
You got to address. And
So it's
people don't even
accountability.
think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, accountability is huge for me.
Yeah. It's a check-in. How are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accountability, I mean, people don't take it.
No.
It's crazy to me.
And
I try to take it as much as I can. Sometimes I see myself
And it's not always
slacking.
easy.
Yeah, it's not always
always
easy.
easy. You're going to have good days and bad days, but just you're not alone. And I think that's important because as an entrepreneur, that's the scariest thing. You don't know how you're going to make money tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, you're 100% dependent on you. But you can't fail if you're going all in. So
Yeah.
you have to do what winners do. So,
A lot's on the line when you go down the entrepreneur route. People
Oh my
think it's
gosh.
easy because of social media.
oh, you make your own schedule. You write your own paycheck. Do you know how scary that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I work probably double the hours of a 9-to-5er. And
Yeah. What are
the
your hours? I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
And probably the first 5 years I made less than a 9-to-5er too.
Yeah. I think we broke even for a long time. And I was like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
But proof of concept, you need to show like that it works. And sometimes you have to do just enough.
Yep.
You know, we weren't looking to get rich and I still don't consider rich. You know, I just be happy, you know, leave a legacy and be able to,
Help people. Yeah. If you help
Yeah.
people, I think the money will come.
yeah.
In one way
But
or
you have to
another.
do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so much out there, especially in show business, entrepreneurship. Everybody's a coach. Everybody's, you know, doing an online course. How are you different? You know,
See so many courses.
all day,
Crazy.
all day.
I never went down that route. It
Well,
wasn't for me.
But you know, like again, like when you're networking and people can see that you're different, that you just need a shot.
Yeah.
You know, this is how we're different.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more of a community guy. Like you see the group chat.
Yeah.
I'm more like, let's help each other rather than me try to help
Yeah.
all you at the same time.
And somebody has the answer.
Yeah.
Somebody's been exactly where you've been.
Oh, yeah.
And they know how to circumnavigate.
Yeah. If you
Help
type
me.
in the chat I made, and I'm sure in any mastermind chat you're in,
Yeah.
you're going to get an answer.
But that's why you have to surround yourself with the right people. And sometimes you have to cut a check for that speed because it's really hard to find successful people that actually can help.
Right.
You know, why would they want to?
If they want to take time out of their day to help a random person.
Who are you?
Yeah. Facts. Alycia, it's been fun. Anything you want to promote or close off with?
Vision Craft, it's coming. It's going to be amazing. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get in front of the right people and be able to tell your story, because again, they're not buying their product, they're buying you. A lot of people don't know how to sell themselves. So Vision Craft, it's coming, and VIP Ignite for any aspiring model or an actor. Put you in front of the right people.
We'll link below. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. It was fun. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys, as always. See you tomorrow.